All right, now the next item on our agenda is the intergovernmental agreement.
Okay, so Mary Ann added a second copy of the agreement between the district and North Riverside. I also presented a hard copy to you. There were a few changes submitted by the village's attorney. And the cover page on here is the, if you look a little further down towards the bottom of the email that's on the top, it discusses that the board can approve this tonight, subject to final attorney review and approval. More or less is what's happened is we've been discussing as a board, also with the Facilities Council, just alternative placements of places to play our girls softball and our lower level baseball. We use Elhurt Park for varsity baseball, and we will continue to use Elhurt Park for varsity baseball. There were some preliminary discussions with the village of Brookfield to use one of their fields and assist with payment of renovation of that field to do an intergovernmental agreement. And after bouncing around some ideas between the Facility Advisory Council, what I've updated the board on the last few months is I went out and then talked with other villages, and we were able to work out an intergovernmental agreement with North Riverside that would accommodate all levels of our girls softball program and the lower level baseball program. In return, no money would need to exchange hands. In return, they were going to set up a community swim day on Sundays, where we would have some time for them to use the swimming pool on Sundays, a few hours every Sunday. We also were able to work out in that agreement. They're going to skin one field, which is what we were going to pay close. Well, the dollar amount that came up right now in Brookfield on the 3 quotes we received was close to between $15,000 and $20,000 to skin a field and make it ready for the girls softball for this spring. And the village of North Riverside was already looking to do that with one of their fields, so there's no charge to the district, and they're going to be skinning a field and making it an IHSA a playable field for girls softball. And they'll also take care of lining and dragging and some of those things because they'll be setting up the fields. So the cost will be then exchanged. We'll cover the lifeguards and the one security guard to be on duty Sundays. So basically we were able to...
We pay for the lifeguards,
Yes.
according to this.
Yes. In return, they're going to be doing the lining, the dragging, the rainouts. They'll use their materials, their employees to fix the fields up instead of us sending a truck over with Airmark. So this is really a cost neutral. It's a great example of an intergovernmental agreement. We still are leaving, I just spoke with Rick Jennings from Brookfield last week. We're still leaving the opportunities to do something down the line with Brookfield. But our softball season starts February, official IHSA date, I believe, is February 25th, and there was no way that we were going to be able to do anything, and we were able to reach a nice agreement with Village of North Riverside. Their trustees, Vera Wilt and Hugh Hermanek, played an instrumental role in meeting with myself, and their parks director person has been in conversation with Art to already start accommodating our schedule. We have played softball competitions and lower level baseball there in the past. We've had some issues in regards to when they start their adult softball program and some of their little league games where we had to get off fields and when games were unable to be fully completed. So we were able to work out some details so that we'll have priority on the field till a time. They've extended the time of our use of the field so that it's upon completion of our games. Their park district and their softball stuff will start after that, or we've worked to set the schedule so it's not on nights that compete with some of their earlier events. So a lot of hard work and discussions have gone into this. The village has been very receptive, and the key thing is there's no money out of budget.
Does their Sunday activity displace anything that the district had planned for that time slot?
No.
Or, so it's available.
Right. And there were some questions in regard to, and the attorney recommended and reviewed it and said that we should probably try to make that in favor of the district, because we did make an arrangement so that if there was a conflict, they would reschedule with us, and similar like we would try to do with them. So.
Right.
The Facility Advisory Council, when I was meeting with them, that's what one thing they suggested was just to make sure we looked at all our options, and this. I appreciated that advice, and this turned out to be a good relationship that we've established.
So the people looking on this meeting tonight say, well, wait, you got 2 fields to the north of the school. Those are not our fields. That's the Brookfield Zoo field. Am I right, Kevin?
Right, so one thing that we've tried to establish with them, me working with their CEO, Dr. Strahl, and their administration, is trying to alleviate the parking congestion issues or the canceling of events we've had sometimes. Those are their fields, and that's their supplemental lot for the south lot. So there have been some occasions where we've had a girls' softball game going on or a lower-level baseball game going on, and it turned out to be a great weather day for the zoo early in the year, and they would just start parking cars in the field, and we would have to cancel or try to relocate the event in very short notice. And it was creating some negative response, not only for the zoo staff, but also for our staff, because, you know, then the parents were coming to the high school to watch the softball game, and it got moved last minute to either Big Ballpark or North Riverside. So what we tried to work out with the zoo is if we use that strictly as just a practice facility, it's a lot easier to cancel a practice midstream or to move kids practicing than trying to relocate an athletic competition and redirect parents and stuff like that. North Riverside has restrooms there. They have plenty of parking. Like I said, we've been playing there the past couple of years, but now we're formalizing that agreement. They're working with us on it. Their trustees and their public works department did a great job. We've walked the fields a couple times with myself, Art, Joel Hatchie from Aramark, and their people, and I think it's a win-win for the district right now.
It sounds good, but do we have any district personnel that have to be in place to open the facility for the Sunday?
Yeah.
We have to pay for that as well.
It's in there. It says we pay for security,
Oh,
and we'll pay for the
security.
one security person and the 2
All right.
lifeguards.
So we're paying
So
when
they
they come
open
to
it
the
up.
pool, and they are giving us
They're
the
paying for us
fields
to
and-
they'll use their public
Maintain
works
and line
people's
the
line,
fields for us.
maintain.
Mow the field and all
Right.
that stuff. Drag it and do everything else.
So in the past, there's been some times where we've had to send our Aramark guy with a trailer over to fields to line fields or to help get ready for a rain out,
And we've paid
mow the lawn. So
we've paid to rent fields, we've paid the
we've
repair
paid to rent fields, yes. This is a cost neutral, and it's a good thing for the village of North Riverside as we continue to work to establish a relationship with the community that we serve so that they get some opportunities to use the high school and the facilities that their tax dollars have paid for.
I just have one question. It still appears there's not language that says they have to meet the IHSA standards like skinning the field in this agreement for the girls softball.
It's just a national softball.
Or whatever the rule is.
Right.
That,
So we've already played on those 2 fields. It's the fact that they're going above and beyond, they're going to do it for a 3rd field.
oh, okay, I'm sorry.
We
I
already, the
misunderstood
2
you.
we've already used
Okay.
are sufficient. We've actually hosted a regional there in the past.
The second thing is you have some flexibility with the scheduling for the swimming pool.
We do.
Because you also, if you wanted to, on the nights where we have open swim, where we already have staff there, it's, unless we had to add a guard because there were too many people, it's free to let
Right.
more people come in
The
then
purpose
also.
of this would just be to it's kind of like a Turner rental, strictly just for North Riverside
Right.
residents, and they're going to set up a pass system
Okay,
and have somebody here checking people in to make sure it's not being misused, and it's just
Okay.
North Riverside residents
okay,
have an opportunity to swim on Sundays.
that's fine.
Any other questions?
I think it's it's a great idea on North Riverside's idea. They've expanded their park district. As a Brookfield resident, I'm disappointed that Brookfield didn't take that opportunity. We have no park district and didn't take the opportunity to do that. I really applaud North Riverside for their
Well,
foresight.
I want to just make clear so that, because I think it has been a topic that's been publicly discussed. Rick Jennings from the village of Brookfield has been very cooperative in trying to work with us. The thing that came up with the field arrangement at Brookfield was that it was a field that they were not using, and the village had no additional dollars to support the maintenance of. So then Little League and the high school were talking about splitting the cost to make it an IHSA competitive field as well, like a competitive girls softball field. What really put a damper on that was the village was willing to work with us 100%. We were going back and forth with an intergovernmental agreement, but to do that work, we would have had to pay prevailing wage And that was something that when we originally had earmark costed out, it was like $6,000. But once you have to pay prevailing wage, it went up to like 17, 19, and I think 16,000 were the three quotes we received from the top companies to do it. So it just became something that we didn't have money like that budgeted for to split. And then it became a point of, do you put that much money in something that we're going to use for 3 months a year and not throughout the whole summer?
And we're also using one of their fields for the varsity.
Yeah, and so the village of Brookfield has done it. We have done some things with them in the past where they use the field house for Little League workouts and some of that stuff. We do some agreements with them for use of Elhurt. But like I said, Trustee Vera Wilt and Hugh Hermanek, I bumped into him when he was at a wrestling meet here, and I said, I'm trying to figure out a field problem. Do you have any solutions? And we were able to sit down, and he extended some time, and we met for lunch with their public works director, our athletic director, and we came up with this idea.
Okay, so if we're gonna make a motion, use the motion
On the email, just so that there is still some flexibility.
And at the building level, we're gonna stick with the protocol of your new entrance A
Yes.
type thing and
Right.
the
And that's why
security.
we're staffing a security to make sure people are coming in the right exit.
And because traditionally, we're not too open on Sunday, except for sporting events mainly.
Yeah, our field house and our gymnasium get a ton of usage on Sundays, but not our pool.
Kevin, you still talking to somebody about a gasoline intercompany too?
Yes, I have our attorney from drafting up a first draft, but it's going to be just a purchase service agreement. It did not need to be intergovernmental. So we're working on purchasing fuel for our district vehicles. The Village of Riverside, we're also talking with them, but their pumps are secured from 8 a.m., are only open 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., where the Village of North Riverside's pumps are 24/7 accessible with key swabs. So we're working on that to save the district's money that way as well.
Kev, do we have an AED box nearby in
Yes.
the pool right now?
Yes.
Oh,
In the
Todd's
hallway.
office? Oh, hallway, okay. So we don't have to worry about that.
Right.
All right, do I have a motion on this?
Resolved that the Board of Education approve and that the superintendent execute and the board secretary attest the intergovernmental agreement between the school district and the Village of North Riverside for the school district's use of the village baseball fields and the village's use of the school district swimming pool in substantially the form presented to the board, subject to attorney review and approval. Is it
And then I would say, as presented in the February 12th.
as presented in the February 12, 2013 board agenda packet?
Second.
Second by Tim Walsh.
Do we need to say baseball and softball fields too?
Yeah, I think, can we amend that to baseball and softball fields?
Sure. District's use of the village baseball and softball fields.
Okay. Tim, you all right with it?
Yeah.
All right, Marion.
Ms. Ruska?
Yes.
Discussion.
Dr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Moon?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Welch?
Yes.
Mr. Cindy?
Yes. Before we move on to our next one, I just want to commend Dr. Skinkis. He did a real good job, yeoman's job, to have a solution, provide a solution for us that, I've had parents come up to me and say, there's cars on the softball field. What the heck's going on? My kid can't play, or, what's going on here? I think this is a very good solution. It's a win-win, and I think it really, Laura, as you said before about communication, helping the community to help feed us, I think that's the same thing. So I think Kevin, you did a great job on this, and,
Thank you.
great job. All right, we're gonna go into our closed session, and I know it's only before 8 o'clock, so please stand still on this. In our closed session, we're gonna go to we're talking about personnel issues, confidentiality of closed session minutes review, collective negotiating matters, litigations. At this time, we have visitor statements again. I'd like to remind everybody that there is a 3-minute limit on your talk. We'll start over here. Anybody over here? Anybody over here? Seeing none, do I have a motion to go into closed session? John King?
It's not here, is it?
It's on the bottom of the hard copy if you want.
Resolved that the Board of Education, Township High School District 208, Cook County, Illinois, enters closed session for the purpose of considering appointment, employment, or dismissal of employees confidentiality of closed session minutes, collective bargaining issues, and litigation.
Have a second?
Second.
Second by Mike Welch. Mary Ann?
Dr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Moon?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Welch?
Yes.
Ms. Ruska?
Yes.
Mr. Cindy?
Yes. All right, it's right now 7:57. We'll go start our session at 8:15.